Hey everybody, it's Coach Matt Ellis, EliteThrowsCoaching.com. Before I get started with the video, listen, I know there is a ton of information in these videos and they do tend to be a little bit long. So make sure, go down, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you receive all notifications of our future videos, because there is a lot to unpack, there is a lot to go over, and I don't want you to miss any information. I'm basically dumping my brain out onto a whiteboard and demonstrating for you. So I want to go through this pretty quickly to give you an idea of exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we are on day number 3 of our 7-day discus breakdown. Okay, so day number 3 is all about the reset drill and resetting into a standing throw. Now, if you were able to check out the shot put series that we did during COVID, where we basically took you through sort of a short season, getting you to glide in 5 days. I'll put the link up there in the corner if you haven't seen that yet. You are very familiar with that reset drill and that power position throw, that standing throw. So basically we're gonna work into that today with discus. We're gonna start out like we do with a recap of what you did in practice yesterday on day 2. So maybe after your team warm up, you go through some bowling drills, you go through that release and catch drill, and you go through that idea of that letter T position, turning back with those easy releases, those easy flat releases. From there, we're going to continue to build those good power position habits. Okay, so what we're going to do to get into that reset drill position is we're going to do the Weeble wobble drill. You're going to do about 15 to 20 reps per athlete. It should only take you maybe 5 minutes. Then you're going to do the Weeble wobble to a one-legged squat. Again, 15 to 20 per athlete. Going to take you, again, about another 5 minutes. And then the Weeble wobble, one-legged squat, and twist. And what you're going to notice is that when you're doing these, it's going to tie right into what you did during day 2. So we kind of split it up into 2 different days, but we had to do that because that release of the discus is so super important. The other thing that I want to mention is that I want you to do this empty-handed. So don't distract your throwers by putting a discus in their hand. It's one more thing that's going to fall out of their hand, one more thing that's going to weigh them down and get them out of that proper T position. Don't put that discus in their hand just yet. Later on in the day, they're going to have the discus in their hand. But for right now, as you're going through this, we're focusing on the lower body. We're focusing on the core. We don't really want to distract them by putting something in their hand. Okay, so just have them do it empty-handed, open-handed for right now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take them step by step through the standing throw progression. So this kind of builds off of what we've been doing. We're going to basically teach them how to ground their blocking foot and then reset. Then they're going to ground their blocking foot, close that power leg, and then reset. From there, you're going to ground, close, slap, and reset. And then you're going to ground, close, slap, pull, shift, and then reset. And you'll see where that goes. And then basically, if they're ready, you have put them in the position where now they can grab a discus and they can go through ground, close, slap, pull and shift, and reset. And for discus, that's super important. We want to make sure that your athletes are confident getting into that power position, not starting from like a static position where they feel like they're going to drop the discus down and everything's going to fall. We want them confident. We want them able to pull that discus back with some speed, reset into that position, and then turn and throw. And that's what today is really all about. All right, so as you can tell, we are not in the discus circle, and I do not want your athletes in the discus circle. Find a spot. Maybe it's a gym floor if it's really cold out. Maybe it's parking lots that have lines. Find a spot where you have lines and get your athletes set up on these lines. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to get them into a good heel-toe position. So if they're right-handed, you want their blocking foot. So if they're right-handed, that's their left foot. You want the ball or the toe of that left foot on the line. Then you want to see the instep or the heel of their power foot on the line. So if you were to bring your feet together, you would be in a heel-toe position, okay? So you're in a heel-toe position. Now we're going to start to do that Weeble wobble drill. So here's what it looks like. I want your athletes to put their arms out just like that letter T, and we're going to start to shift our weight. Now we're going to bring all of our weight back onto our power leg, and then we're going to bring all of our weight back onto our blocking foot. So power foot, blocking foot. They don't have to stay on the line perfectly. Power foot, blocking foot. But notice how I'm shifting weight. You can see the logo on my t-shirt. This is one of our old camp t-shirts from 2019. We are doing a camp again this year. If you're interested, click the link up below. See, I gotta put that stuff in here. So we're shifting. Some of your guys are just gonna do this. They're just gonna kind of go like left and right, and they're not gonna get their chest over the foot. You want them to whoop. That's gonna happen too. You want them to get everything over. If they go too much, that's okay. They need to find out how much is too much. If they go too far, like I just did, totally okay. Nothing wrong with that. Get them back on their line. They need to know how far is too far and get them shifting. And this is the Weeble wobble drill. The other thing you'll see, sometimes they'll bring their feet together. Don't let them bring their feet together. Keep their legs spread apart, kind of like a gingerbread cookie position, kind of like a starfish position. Keep everything nice and long. Weeble wobble, 15 to 20 per athlete. Very simple, very easy, super, super easy thing to teach. All right, the next one, this is where your athletes are gonna get a little bit mad at you. This is the Weeble wobble to a one-legged squat. Now we're gonna be doing a one-legged squat on their power leg. So again, as a right-handed thrower, that's my right leg. Power leg, right leg, blocking leg, left leg. We're gonna have them Weeble wobble. Now you're gonna do this a couple times. Weeble wobble, and then when all their weight is on their power leg, you're gonna have them balance, and then you're gonna have them squat. So all the weight is on that power leg. Gonna balance, then we're gonna squat. We're gonna do that one-legged squat. We're not gonna bring this leg in. It's a one-legged squat, one-legged squat. Weeble wobble, their right leg is gonna be a little bit sore. One-legged squat. Weeble wobble, one-legged squat. All right, so again, not too difficult. It's a tricky movement. Their legs might not be strong enough. You might see some baby giraffes with their legs shaking and quivering all over the place. Just have them try it. Make sure all their weight is shifted onto their power leg, and then go straight down. This is gonna teach them, again, keeping everything in line. Hip on top of the knee, on top of the ankle, when they do that Weeble wobble to a one-legged squat. Okay, the last part of this piece of practice is we're going to incorporate what we did yesterday with that letter T in twisting back. So we're just going to do what we did, exact same thing, Weeble wobble, one-legged squat, but now we are going to twist our arms back. Remember, we're already in that letter T, that kind of starfish position. We're going to Weeble wobble. We're going to get that weight shifted. I almost fell. Weeble wobble all the weight over the right because I'm right-handed. Weeble wobble, one-legged squat. Notice I'm bending my right leg only, and then I'm twisting back. So notice the position I want them in. You want them on the ball of their power foot. That's my right foot down here. And you want to show the bottom of their blocking foot to the official. Now, see, I was a little bit off. Make sure their foot is on the line, letter T, and they should still be able to bounce on that power leg. Do that one-legged squat. Then you just have them reset. Weeble wobble, letter T, Weeble wobble, all the weight over, one-legged squat, turn back. Make sure you're on the ball of the right foot, and make sure the bottom of your blocking foot is facing the official that's going to be marking the throw. And pretty much what are we in? We are resetting to a power position. Now once they get that, they can kind of just get it set up on their own, where they pretend they're pulling that discus back, and boom, we're into that power position. Pull the discus back. That's what we're going to be getting into next, is now, how do we do that power position throw? How do we do that standing throw? Now that we can reset back with all of our weight back on the power leg, how do we get out of that? How do we now reset back and learn how to throw and release? So the first half is done. We can reset back. Now we've got to learn how to push the discus and make it fly forward. Okay, now at this point, if you want to, you can actually give them a discus, like a fiber sport discus. link, excuse me, link in the corner. Excuse me. But you can see, boom, grab onto it with your knuckles. This way they don't drop it, okay? Have them hold it right in their knuckles, clamp right onto it. It's what I call clamping. Clamp right onto it. This way they're not going to drop it, okay? Super important. Don't let them drop it. So you don't want to hold it like you're going to throw it because it's going to fall out of their hand. Clamp right onto it. Again, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this green throwing ball that we've used in the past. It's soft. It's about the same weight as a girl's 1 kilogram high school discus. Well, all women use 1 kilogram discus, but you know what I mean. We're going to hold on to it. We're going to squeeze it. It's something visual that you can look at. If you have these, your kids can use them. If not, they can just do this open-handed. All right, so what we're going to do is first we're going to teach them how to ground. So we know how to reset, right? We have our feet facing forward. All of our weight is on that power leg. I can tell by picking up my blocking foot. All of my weight is on the power leg. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to reset into that power position. From here, the first thing we teach is grounding. Grounding is the first part. It's what initiates the block. We're going to take this non-throwing, non-power leg, the blocking foot, whatever you call it at your practice. We're going to turn that blocking foot and we're going to put it flat on the ground. Grounding. Put it flat on the ground. It doesn't have to be perfectly down 6 o'clock. It can be facing 5 o'clock down that right sector line. That's totally okay too. All right, so all we're going to do, we're going to have them hold their upper body back, hold the left arm back, hold their head and shoulders back as much as they can as they ground. They're going to feel a real big stretch down the left side of their body, and they're going to try to kind of feel that hip opening up and that left knee kind of starting to turn and point down that throwing area. So it looks like this. We're going to reset back, power position, hold everything back. I'm going to turn my blocking foot and ground it. Turn, ground, turn, ground, turn, ground. Okay? Rinse and repeat. Now, some of your more flexible throwers, they're going to be able to hold themselves back way better than I just did. Okay? Your less flexible throwers, you're going to see their upper body start to unwind a little bit like I did. That's totally okay. As they continue to practice, as they continue to work on it, that specific flexibility is going to improve and they're going to be getting into better and better positions. Okay, next we have grounding and closing. So we just did grounding, what's closing? Well, when I talk about the power leg, I like to describe the ankle, the knee, and the hip, those 3 joints. I like to describe them like 3 hinges on a door. And if you were to slam a door shut, all 3 of those hinges are going to move and close at the same time. It's not that the bottom hinge goes first, the middle hinge goes second, the top hinge goes third. You slam that door, boom, all 3 hinges are going to close at the same time. So that's why I call this part closing, because we want to turn our entire right side, the ankle, the knee, and the hip, all together as one unit and start pointing that down the throwing area. As we do that, I'm going to still continue to try to hold my upper body back as long as I possibly can. Now, when you're doing a standing throw, you're not going to be able to see all these different parts separate from each other. They're all going to blend together. But as a coach, you have to make sure that grounding is going to happen before closing. You don't want them to start closing their foot and then put the blocking foot down. You don't want that to happen. You want the block to happen first, and you want the closing or the grounding to happen first, and you want the closing to happen second. So it looks like this. We're going to set up into that power position. We're going to weeble wobble, get all of our weight back. Okay, we're going to do that one-legged squat, pivot all the weight back, and now what we're going to do, we're going to ground that blocking foot, ground, and now because we're on the ball of our power leg, makes it way easier to turn. We're going to start to turn and close that power leg. We're going to start to close it. We're going to start to turn it. We're going to start to push it down that throwing area. Think of your knee almost like an aiming device, like a targeting device. That knee and that hip are going to turn and push down the middle of that sector, down that throwing area. So we want to make sure, that's why throwing shoes are so important, we want to make sure that we are grounding and then we are turning and we are slamming this door shut. We are closing that door, closing our right side. The next step after that is we have the ground, close, slap, reset. Now, slapping, again, if you are familiar with the shot series that we did, just like this, that short season shot put series, we talk about slapping the giant, opening that left arm and slapping that left arm way up in the air because we want the shot to go up at that same angle, a nice high release, a nice tall, big, powerful push up in the air. Discus is not as high of a release as shot. So when we talk about slapping, we don't really want to slap a giant. We kind of want to slap like LeBron James, sort of like that 6'8", 6'9" guy. We want to slap somebody who's a little bit taller than us. We don't want to go way up here, try to slap a giant from all the way down to all the way up. Again, we're in that letter T. So we're going to be coming from here and slapping just a little bit higher than our head. So that way we can come all the way around nice and level. Remember, we want that flat, level release. We want the discus to cut through the air. We don't want to have the hand and the thumb coming up this way. We want it nice and flat, nice and level. Okay, so let's go through it. Same exact thing. See how many times they're going to reinforce this Weeble wobble, shifting your weight. It should be natural for your athletes at this point. They've been doing it all day. We're going to reset back into that power position. And then from here, we now have an extra step. We're going to ground, we're going to close, and then we're going to slap. And then we're going to reset back. Ground, close, slap, reset, ground, close, slap. Notice how they're all kind of blending together. Reset, ground, close, slap, reset, ground, close, slap, reset. So you're going to notice your athletes are going to start to blend all of these things together. That closing and the slapping happen almost simultaneously. They happen almost at the same exact time. And that's how it works when you take an actual power position throw, is the closing and the slapping are going to really happen at just about the same time. Now, I teach the closing first because I think that's the most important part of the throw. Turning that knee down the middle, getting your hips all the way down the middle, delivering power right down the middle of the throwing sector. Some people like slapping. They like to use that non-throwing arm to add more speed, and they want to emphasize that instead. To each their own. They are both super important. You definitely want to make sure both are present in that standing throw, in that power position. But for me, I think this is more important, so I focus on that first. I want to emphasize that because in more advanced throwers, high school juniors, high school seniors, college athletes that send me video analysis, that's what I notice is that they're not turning that foot in the middle. The foot's going flat, they're picking the foot up, they have a lot of right sector falls. So I really want to emphasize and train closing before slapping, but when you get right down to it, they pretty much happen at the same time. So we're going to reset, we're going to ground, we're going to close, we're going to slap, and then we're going to reset. Ground, close, slap, reset, ground, close, slap, reset. Okay, really there's only one part left. We're going to be adding on the idea of pulling in that arm. So slap, pull, and as we pull, we're going to shift our weight and push our body forward so that our hips and our stomach and our chest are over the front rim of that discus circle. So again, I teach these two things together. I never want to get in a position where someone has all their weight back and they're pulling and they're not getting their weight forward. So I teach these two at the same time, almost as a pull and a shift, a pull and a push. Pull and shift, they're pulling in that non-throwing arm, they're pushing and extending with that power leg, shifting their weight forward. I like to teach them at the same time. I think it's a lot easier to teach at the same time, and you don't get in that habit of athletes sitting back here pulling and never extending their body forward over the front rim of that discus circle. Or for rotational shot, the shot circle as well. So here's what we're going to do. Again, we're going to reset. We've been doing it all day. Reset back into that power position. Then you're going to ground, close, slap, and we're going to pull this left arm in and down. Okay? So almost think about lowering yourself in a push-up. You're not going to be up here when you do a push-up. You're not going to be down here when you do a push-up. You're going to be right around here, like this 45-degree angle, okay? Hopefully you all see that. As we're pulling ourselves in, we're going to be pushing through this power foot and shifting our weight all the way forward so that our hips are over the blocking foot, and we can almost pick this power foot up off the ground, okay? So here's what it looks like. Reset back. We're going to ground, close, slap. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to pull and push the body forward. Pull and push the body forward. Pull and shift the body forward. Okay? Gets them into a great habit, and then you can start to play with this a little bit. You can call it out to them. You can break it down into those 5 parts, call it out to them, have them start to connect the dots and put those puzzle pieces together, okay? So here's what I would do. I'd start my athletes off here, and I'd say ground, reset. Ground, reset. Ground, close, reset. Ground, close, reset. Ground, close, slap, reset. Ground, close, slap, reset, and then I would just say go. Ground, close, slap, pull, push. Ground, close, slap, pull, push, reset. Ground, close, slap, pull, push, reset. Ground, close, slap, pull, push, reset. And just have them continue doing this for the next 15, 20 minutes of practice. And you see what's happening. So what's next? Put the discus in their hand if they're ready and have them throw. Get in the circle. Finally, they have that reward. Get in the circle. It's Wednesday of your first week of practice. Let's throw. So there's some equipment down there I'm definitely going to hit, but let's give this a throw. So they're going to just get in the circle, pretend like I've got a discus in my hand. They're at the front of the circle. Okay, what am I going to do? Okay, so I'm in, heel toe. Okay, heel toe's good. Now as a coach, you're going to be telling this stuff. Hey, make sure you're in that heel toe position. Good. Okay, make sure all your weight is on that power leg. Good. All right, now remember, when you reset, stay on the ball of that power foot. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Reset and then put it all together. Ground, close, slap, pull, push. They'll get in the circle. They're here, discus in their hand, and they're going to go, okay, here we go. They've been doing it all day. They're nervous. And there you go. Pretty simple to do. Now they're resetting into that power position. They're coming out of it correctly in the proper sequence. And they've got a nice flat release because we've been doing it now for the past couple days. All right, so that's how it works. That's how you teach your athletes step by step by step so they don't have any bad habits, so that you're teaching them the good habits first instead of trying to correct them all season long. You take the first 3 or 4 days and you teach them how to do it correctly. Now you're going to be doing this reset drill into standing throws. Honestly, for the rest of your throwers' careers, they're going to be doing this. Again, look down below in the description. I'm going to put Ryan Krauser's YouTube channel. He just did these in his YouTube channel because he was getting ready for Worlds. And he was in his training center and he was resetting back and pushing into a tarp. Just like we do here. Reset back and then push into a tarp. What are we doing? Reset back and then ground, close, open, boom, all the way through. Okay? Keep working on it. Keep getting your athletes in the rhythm. It might take more than 3 days. It might take 4 or 5. Who cares? You've got a long season. Take this first week, teach them how to do it correctly. Don't let any bad habits creep in. You will thank me at the end of the season when you're not trying to get them to keep this arm long for the next 10, 12 weeks because you taught them on the third day. All right, everybody, thanks for watching the video. I'm beat, I'm tired. It's like 10:30 at night. I've been going since 7:30 this morning. Thanks again for watching the video. Make sure, guys, if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button down below and leave us a like. It really helps. And if you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comment section down below.